Anyway, so drugs are not bad. Drugs are not good. Nothing is good, nothing is bad. It's just what you make of it, how you perceive it. Everything, though, is a tool, or can be used as a tool, including drugs. They can be used for good, they can be used for bad. Drugs can help you. When I say drugs, I mean pharmaceuticals, I mean everything. I also mean straight up meth, cocaine, heroin, fentanyl. Now, I don't claim to know all the exact reasons they can help you. Everyone knows how they can hurt you. But I don't really think it's them hurting you. It's the choices you make while on them. People attribute it to the drug. But it's not the drug. It's the people you may be around and the influence you receive while on the drugs. It's almost always in a bad place because of the legality issues. And everybody's saying drugs are bad. Cops, you get hella years in prison for having the drugs on you, let alone in your system. So, therefore, the stigma is terrible on drugs, like awful. I'm a unique situation where I've always been a nice person, kind, generous, sharing. So when I used them, which I used a lot of them and a lot of different kinds, fentanyl, everything, meth, I was still a good person, and I shared them like I shared money. If someone needed money, I would share money, I'd help them out. If it was needing drugs, I understood that I thought I needed them at the time, so I shared them. Not a whole lot of bad is going on. These drugs aren't making me evil. I did think that they kind of started ruining my life, but it wasn't that. It wasn't the drugs. It was where I was in life. My life was getting ruined anyway. The drugs were like a catalyst because of all the time they took to get, the money they took to get, the resources, the energy they took to get. Them acting as a catalyst made it appear like it was the drugs. But it wasn't the drugs. What I'm learning is to differentiate what's going on in your life and the drug that you are on. And this last however many months, I was able to do that because, like I said, I started using again. Or I said in a previous video, if it's a separate video at this point, that I started again. So I was able to really notice what the drug was doing versus just what was going on anyway, and how it was influencing my decisions and stuff. So, and also observe people around me and how they were acting, what drug they were on, how that was affecting, changing, or if changing nothing. I was able to observe a lot and learn a lot, so here I am. Drugs are not bad. What they do, I think, is they're a tool to provide you. Let's go with marijuana. I've had hardly any experience with that my whole life. For the reason of the 19, thought I was dying when I smoked it. Like legit thought I was dying. So here's a good example. I thought I was dying off marijuana. So I always thought marijuana, I hate it because it makes me think I'm dying. I don't like it at all. Like, it can mess you up. And years and years and years of thinking that and saying that, and all that stuff. And a lot of people couldn't understand where I was coming from, but I couldn't understand where they were coming from. How did weed not make you think you're dying? Like, how do you, like, not have a panic attack on weed? Well, I figured it out. The reason I thought I was dying was because when I smoked it, my body was doing weird things I didn't understand. I could hear my heartbeat or something. It was like boom, boom. And it may not have been my heartbeat. I don't know. It was something. Energy moving. Who knows? Chakra. Points. Dancing. Like, I have no idea. But it was this bump, this sensation. And it got slower. Like boom, boom. Boom, boom. And I was like going to fall asleep. Or pass out. Or not even pass out. I was going to just go into a state where out of body. You know, like I was going to astral project, like just who knows. Nothing bad though. But I took it as I was dying. And the reason I took it as I was dying was because of the guilt I had from growing up Catholic. Being told everything's bad. Being told drugs are bad. Also, I had just broken up with my first girlfriend and she didn't want me to, so I felt bad. And I thought I was being punished for breaking up with her, for using marijuana, for smoking a fat joint or 3 or 6 or 8, for a whole list of things. I was getting punished by dying. You're gonna die. God was like, you suck, you're gonna die, I'm gonna kill you, take away your life because you don't deserve it, because you are doing all these terrible things that are all just terrible. So I freaked out. I had a super mega panic attack. I told my friend I was with that I'm dying. I didn't tell him right away. I don't know if I told him. But I did tell him, I'm like, where's the Mountain Dew? I thought if I drank some Mountain Dew that I would be fine because it's caffeine. Because it was caffeine and it would make my heart stop from stopping, because I thought my heart was stopping. So I also ate a banana because I thought bananas could maybe save your life when your heart's stopping from marijuana, weed, guilt, trip. So a banana and Mountain Dew, they may have helped a little momentarily, but the banana and the Mountain Dew was not the answer. So I'll get in another video explaining exactly what happened, because this was an interesting experience, to say the least. Holy crap. I mean, punching streetlights, writing my name in blood on windows. Yep, I'm gonna leave it at that. You're gonna have to watch another video to hear the rest. But anyway, my point is, weed doesn't make you punch lights, write stuff on people's windows in blood. It doesn't kill you. It doesn't do any of that. But what it does do is, if you're a person who has a lot of guilt and is being told by society, by cops, police, being told that you suck and you're wrong and you should be guilty for everything and everything is bad. When you're told something is bad, like drugs, and you don't understand why, then bad things happen. You think bad things are happening. When people don't understand something and they talk about it like they do understand it, bad things can happen. Especially when they say it in a very judgmental way. If they're saying it in like a way like, oh, I'm not sure how it works, but this is, then that's whole different energy than saying drugs are terrible. And if you do them, you're going to go to jail and you're evil. Like, you're just nothing but evil. You're evil and you're awful and you're terrible. And these people who do those terrible things, who are on drugs, they're on drugs because they're terrible people. And they are doing terrible things. And if you do these terrible things like drugs, you will become terrible. Oh, you already are terrible. The fact that you even thought that, you're terrible. You're awful. And you suck. So you should be arrested and probably just get the death penalty because we don't have time for you. That's how I saw the world. That's how I saw cops. Well, I was one of those judgy people. I mean, I thought people who did like meth and heroin were those kind of people. Like, not really, but I did judge them a little bit. At that point, I'd only done alcohol and weed, and in my experience, alcohol is like, ugh, that's just my least favorite. It's not like bad or anything. I don't know what. I can actually tell you how alcohol did help me. It got me out of my shell when I was 17. So, I can tell you how all these drugs have helped me, which I'll try to do in this video. At this point, though, I was sent into a whole lot of years of struggling, because after that, I thought at any moment I was going to die or get my life taken away by God because of the whole Catholic thing. The Catholic thing is a huge part of what caused this. The guilt. I should just say, you know what? It was shame, guilt, and being judged. Those are the things that caused the problems. Misunderstanding what weed is and drugs and stuff made it worse. So, fast forward to, well, let's just give some examples of how they're good. Alcohol helped me come out of my shell. It made me less anxious when I was on it, and I was a lot more outgoing. And I noticed that when I was done drinking, which I drank for a few years, right? Like a chunk of years, like 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 5 years. And then I really haven't drank since, like virtually a few times here and there. But I haven't drank since. But after I drank, I was outgoing while I was drunk. But even after I was drunk, and when I was like sober the next day or whatever, I noticed the outgoingness stayed. I remembered the feeling of being outgoing. So I kept it. So I became more outgoing. I didn't need alcohol to be outgoing, which is a misperception, I believe. People think the feeling you feel on the drugs, and this is coming out right now, like, I might say stuff that come out as I say it that I didn't really even know I knew, which is another thing I want to talk about. It's like channeling. We'll get to that. Anyway, when you take a drug and you feel the effects, the drug may not cause those effects. They may, I don't know, but the state of mind you go to while on the drug is a state of mind you can go to without the drug. I firmly believe in that. So I got and became a lot more outgoing and comfortable and less anxious, whatever, after I drank. And it stuck with me. Like, I didn't need to do it. At the time, I did. I maybe thought I did, or it was just fun. But anyway, marijuana brought me to a state of mind I did not like because of the guilt stuff and me thinking and not understanding what was going on. So therefore, every time I smoked weed after that, which I did try it to see if I could, it usually brought me to a bad state of mind. Every time, honestly, every time. I ended up in a bad state of mind every time. Then we'll go with painkillers, opiates of any kind. I had a fantastic experience the first time. I was tubing and I flew off and landed right on my ear on the water. Like on my ear. Like my whole ear just hit the water first. Water shot in and it hurt. It's very painful. ended up getting Vicodin, like hydrocodones or something, like 7.5s or 5s, whatever, I don't know. I took one, and I was reading a Harry Potter book, the 4th one, I think, or the 3rd. It doesn't matter, but it kind of does, actually, if you're a HP nerd, but like me, I am, oh my god, I love Harry Potter. We'll get into that later, too. So, I was reading it, and all of a sudden, the effects hit me. Of the painkiller, or whatever, and I felt warm, like a super comfortable warmness, just warmth throughout my whole body. The word comfortable doesn't begin to describe it. Well, it begins to describe it, actually. It describes it pretty well, actually, but it was comfort to the next level. Yeah, I'm just speechless. It was just perfection. It was like there's nothing I had to worry. I didn't have to worry about a thing. Everything was fine. Everything was fine. I had no worries. No worries at all. Yeah, that probably best describes it. Which is funny, because euphoric, sure, that's how I used to describe it, but it's like, maybe it was I was so relaxed. That's interesting. Okay. Anyway, for now we'll describe it as just euphoric and awesome. But I was just very chill. I didn't worry. I had no worries. That's the way to describe it now. That's how I would describe it, which is more correct, I think. So, the effects wore off, and when the effects wore off, I went upstairs, and it was time to eat, and my stepmom got a little irritated that I brought a blanket to the table. It's not a place for blankets or something. I'm just being honest, and that the first moment I realized, I was like almost like blowing your buzzkill a little bit. I'm just like, okay, why does that matter? But it didn't destroy my buzz or anything, but I felt the first feelings of almost like worrying, but it went away a little bit. I don't know. Anyway, we'll fast forward to after the freak out of weed. When after that night, it just wasn't good. I had panic attacks all the time, and I didn't feel good physically. Like, headaches all the time. And a whole bunch of other physical symptoms. Because I was constantly thinking I could die at like any moment. And as I'm saying this, so much is making sense, by the way. So, being in that constant state of fear made me feel like physical shit. Like, physical shit. In every sense of the way you can feel physically shiesty. So I remembered what they made me feel like, painkillers. So I eventually found some and I took some. And it fixed it. It made me feel good. The headaches were gone and stuff. However, it's hard to get those because they're illegal unless you go get them prescribed, and expensive. And they got to a point where, yeah, they helped, But, you know, I needed more to get to that state where I felt good, and it didn't last as long, the effects. So the next thing you knew, you know, I mean, my life is getting worse because I'm focusing all my time and energy on trying to find them and get them just so I can feel okay. And fast forward to today, I was on a very long journey. Ever since, you know, I'm 19, I'm definitely not 19 anymore. For years and years and years, I was on some sort of opiate to not feel withdrawals, to not feel, you know, like I felt like I needed them big time, because physically the symptoms were just unbearable. I couldn't focus on anything. But this is so crazy. But here I am. We'll stick with what it did for me. And opiates got me through a time that I couldn't have got through otherwise. I couldn't function. The panic attacks overwhelmed me. I couldn't keep a job. I couldn't stay good for my son, to be a dad. I couldn't. So what opiates did for me was brought me somewhere where I could do all that. Until I learned what was going on and could change it, they helped me get through it. And that is a fact. That is an undeniable fact that I will defend them, opiates, of any kind, till the day I die. Or till whoever I need to, you know, defend. They help me. Therefore, they are a tool that can help you if you know how to use them, and if you understand them, and if you have pain and you need to get through that pain. You know, I'm interested to know if all the stigma on them would even be a real thing, if people didn't put so much hate towards them. I feel like if you don't put hate to drugs, you don't talk bad about them, they're not gonna bring you anything bad. If you understand that they're just a tool to be used and treat them as such, like give gratefulness to them. I know it's hard to give gratefulness to an inanimate object, you'd think, but this universe works that way. When you give love to anything, it will help you in return. It will give you something in return. Whether that thing is tangible or not, it will. And I had a love-hate relationship with opiates. I mean, at that time, it was, I need you, and I love the way you make me feel, but I hate you because I need you just to live and to feel good. And you do all these bad things and are so bad and all that stuff. And then, therefore, it brought me a lot of joy and happiness, but I talked bad about it and thought badly about it, so I brought me a lot of pain, like withdrawals and chasing it, and I think that was created by me and the stigma and everyone else talking bad and saying bad things and judging me for being on them. that's really interesting. So, oh, I'm hungry, I think. Or am I? I've been finding out recently that sometimes I feel certain ways and I'm like, oh, I'm hungry, but I'm really not hungry. I just thought that was hunger. I associated hunger with this weird feeling, but it really wasn't. God, I have so much to talk about. It's ridiculous. Okay. I'm gonna finish this up so I can figure out what I'm feeling. So, drugs are not bad and are not good. Nothing is bad and nothing is good, and nothing should be judged as bad. If you judge it as bad, it will bring you bad things. And in this world, we need to come at everything with an open mind, including drugs, including fentanyl. You know, the ones that are ODing, you know, people are dying. So people have a lot of, you know, I want to explain this too in this video. People who don't like drugs because they've taken someone from you, or you think they've taken someone from you, they haven't taken that person from you. That person, chances are they OD'd on accident. And if they did, you know, they're using something that they don't understand either. A lot of people don't understand. All they know is they take the drug and they feel better. They're doing their best to just feel better, to just not feel awful. And what's happening is we're getting judged and chased by cops and told you're awful and terrible, when all they're trying to do is not feel terrible, like they're being told they are. And that brings them to the state of mind that they just don't care. They just want to feel better. They just want to forget. They want to not feel. And then that leads to overdosing on accident. And if your will to live isn't that strong because of your life is so terrible, while you are overdosing, I feel they don't hold on to that life, which I understand, because it feels like no one understands them and they're just being judged every day and every moment. So that's what's killing people. It's the judgment. It's the stigma. It's either take this drug, whatever, or it's face rest of your life in prison. Why are drug addicts going to prison? They should not be. They are not killing anyone. All the judgment and hate is killing them. So I'm just letting people know, don't come at anyone with like a ferocity and anger and judgment and tell them, like, you know, you're so bad because you are selling drugs and doing drugs. You know, they're only selling them to support their habit. And if they don't have a habit, then they're selling them because they think they need to sell them to get money to also not be put in jail or not have a home. Nobody understands what they're doing out here in this drug world. Nobody has any idea what they're doing, and there's not much help. There is help. There's people who want to help. I know this for a fact. But it's not as much as it maybe should be. And these people aren't feeling as supported as they should. Because believe me, you don't just go say, oh, hey, I'm selling drugs and doing them, but I need help. Can you help me? More often than not, it leads to some sort of trap where they're tricked into admitting stuff, and then they get arrested because they had something to do with someone who died and OD'd in a drug that is killing people. And that sucks. It's you feel like you have nowhere to go and nowhere to turn to because all you're going to do is get judged. So we need to get rid of that, and we need to come at this with an open mind. Drugs, all drugs, street drugs, whatever, pharmaceuticals. Nothing is bad and nothing is good. It's just how you use it. And when we all stop assuming everyone else is bad and everything else is bad, that's when bad stuff, I think, will stop happening. So, did I cover everything I wanted to? Because when I say a statement like that, I don't want to leave anything unsaid and have people think or get angry. People are going to get angry, I know this, but I want to at least try to explain what I mean the best way I can. I think that might be everything. I feel I'm hungry or something. I need to eat. But yeah, we'll leave it there. And that's my grandma's. All right. Oh, not talking to me, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. We'll start with this. Let me know what you guys think.